In America, July 4th has appeared to be a celebration day of freedoms, of the liberties that people feel they have received from the Declaration of Independence Charter. But I have a different perspective. I see July 4th as more like a symbol of the Day of the Slaves, due to the games that were being played from the Founding Fathers, in the banking of the borrowing of money, as well as the fraudulent, fictitious grammar ultimately being used to harvest the people from truly having rights, and knowing that their beloved Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, and constitutional charters were actually bankruptcy charters, which means when the debt was paid, these charters and rights would cease to exist. That brought us to 1999. When the debt got paid, the people got played. In my documentary film at lastflagstanding.com, I give more closure in 1999, when the government chose to abandon their flag, go rogue, so they didn't have to follow any guidelines, so they could continue scams against the people and keep them in bondage day after day. In 1999, the debt was paid, and as it was paid, the people got played. Today we're going to take a look at evidence of communication, look at evidence of how people are being played through what's called parallel construction. Parallel construction is evidence on the basis for conducting a criminal investigation where they use methods to conceal the nativity or the starting point where we should be looking at for the root cause of actions and consequences. So today we're going to take a look at some of the things that are being done to the American citizens, such as spying on the citizens, which we have evidence here from a journalist, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is being spied on by his own confession in this video. What is not being said to him is the root cause of why they can get away with it. Someone is telling Tucker Carlson that the National Security Agency only spies on people on foreign soil. But what they failed to tell Tucker Carlson is he is on the foreign soil.
Listening to efforts on U.S. citizens by the NSA, and is Tucker Carlson one of them?
Well, the NSA, as I think you're well aware, I'm sure everyone's aware, everyone on this plane is aware, I should say, is an entity that focuses on foreign threats and individuals who are attempting to do us harm on foreign soil.
No denial. Of course, she's right that the NSA is chartered to spy on foreigners, not on Americans. That's illegal. And yet the NSA does routinely spy on Americans. It won't call it spying. That's exactly what it is. It is dangerous and it's wrong. Some faceless hack in a powerful government spy agency decides he doesn't like what you think, so he's going to hurt you, and there's nothing you can do about it? That could happen to you. Question remains, did the Biden administration read my personal emails? That's the question that we asked directly to NSA officials when we spoke to them about 20 minutes ago in a very heated conversation. Did you read my emails? And again, they refused to say. Again and again. And then they refused even to explain why they couldn't answer that simple question. We can't tell you, and we won't tell you why we can't tell you. My emails. And the message was clear. We can do whatever we want. We can read your personal texts. We can read your personal emails. We can send veiled threats your way to brush you back if we don't like your politics. We can do anything. We're our own country, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. We're in charge. You're not. Orwellian does not begin to describe the experience. It was like living in China. But we should get used to it. Now that the Biden administration has classified tens of millions of patriotic Americans, the kind who served in the military and fly flags in front of their homes, as potential domestic terrorists, white supremacist saboteurs, we're going to see a whole lot more of this kind of thing.
You see, when the debts were paid and the United States came out of international bankruptcy in 1999, the holder in trust of the bankruptcy was the United States Postal Service. The United States Postal Service was holding the land in title under to have and to hold under allodial title. However, when they came out of bankruptcy, the post office itself lost its authorization to hold land. Therefore, the land itself went into a foreign soil condition of the state. The National Security Agency, which gets its authorization from the U.S. Post Office, which then lost its authorization to exist as a corporation because the United States Post Office came in violation of Title 39, Section 101, subsection A and subsection B. For whatever reason, a rogue state came to fruition through the fake presidential election of 2000, where the Bush-Gore summary of conclusion of a fake presidential election went to the U.S. Supreme Court. In order to go into the U.S. Supreme Court, you must file a writ of certiorari. Writ is a pronoun, of is an adverb, making certiorari a verb. There's no such thing as certiorari as a verb. And the U.S. Supreme Court at the time in 2000 could only give you an opinion. It could not give you a fact of who a leader was, because the guidelines to elect a president ended because the president was the trustee of the bankruptcy. So what they're not telling Tucker Carlson is his authorization to state a claim as a journalist went defunct because the foundation for his employment, his education, was based upon a birth certificate system that lost its ability to exist as an administrative corporation. So Tucker Carlson, to answer your question correct on why you're being spied on, is you are the foreigner. You have no ability to state a claim because of your birth certificate status, and you are on the foreign soil. Thus, you have foreign soil, you have a fraudulent entity called the National Security Agency. And Tucker, I'd like to give you a little background on communication. Does 2 plus 2 equal 4? Does TO plus TO equal FOR? Does TWO plus TO equal FORE? Point being, it must be written down to have command as an authorization for a statement of a claim. What that means is that if you don't have the right mechanics and methods as you write things down, you lose jurisdiction of what you're trying to say for the ability to state a claim. I'd like to give a little grammar lesson to the world and to Tucker Carlson about facts, otherwise known as nouns. In mathematics and in numerology, numbers are classified as facts, otherwise you know them as nouns. We use hyphens between nouns to command control of the nouns. If you take the hyphen out, as was shown here with 30-5, 30-5 equals 35. If you take the mechanic out or the method out, you create subjective interpretation, which are adjective pronouns. It's an opinion. It's subjective interpretation on what the value of the word is. So now, without the hyphen, 30 becomes an adjective description of 5, and it has no authority for the statement of a claim because you lose volition or control of your subject matter. Same thing holds true with the National Security Agency, which is an adjective pronoun scenario. Now, I would like to give you a story about myself. In 2005, I was conducting the world's largest court-martialing, and I was at Monterey, California, at the U.S. Department of Defense Linguistics University for communication skills. And I syntexed and proved the forms of the U.S. Department of Defense Linguistics School to be completely 100% fraud. Later that afternoon, the National Security Agency, as an adjective pronoun, pulled me off the streets to have a conversation about what I had just done to their function of communication. When they pulled out their fake badges, being the National Security Agency as an adjective pronoun, I syntexed their adjective pronoun. There was also a member of the Department of Defense, which is a pronoun adverb verb. I identified Department of Defense as a pronoun adverb verb. I told the National Security Agency and the Department of Defense to put their silly badges back in their pocket before I bitch slapped them for stupidity. They looked at each other and said, "Oh yeah, you're the guy we need to talk to." They put their phony baloney badges back in their pocket and they were like, "This is fake." And we're like, "Yes, this is fake. This is fiction. You're known as fiction." We then had a conversation about the pecking order on planet Earth of communication, how nouns are certified with prepositional phrases to establish a fact, and to talk about the controlling functions of some of the things I was doing in my court-martialing of the Bush and Cheney regime in Washington, D.C. They completely concurred that they were a fraudulent organization with no authority to state a claim. Tucker Carlson, if you want to step into the big boy field and play around with the big boys, you better know how to syntax, because if you can't control your world, somebody's going to control it for you. They're going to tell you you're on foreign soil, which is an adjective pronoun. They're going to direct you in circles and looping of things that don't exist. You must have ability to control your facts. So you can learn a little bit about this and get yourself the necessary education so that when you do run into this parallel construction, who is rogue on its face and is thwarting the command position of the Postmaster-General, me, Russell-J. Gould, and Commander-in-Chief, when you know these facts to be true, the fiction will leave you alone. But you have to know the foundation or the root cause, which is your birth certificate, and the ability for you to conduct business from your birth certificate is a negative condition of state, and you will get no answers and no solutions. Now, the American journalists can all sit in denial all they want, but it doesn't change the facts that the birth certificate system and the U.S. presidency's authorizations and guidelines to elect a president ended in 1999. I cannot change that, nor do I live in the past. We can only establish the facts in the now space scenario. So as you move forward in your journalistic ways, you now have knowledge of what a fact looks like and what it does not look like. If you want to remain factless, by all means, continue on in your denial, and the American journalists continue to blocking this story about there actually being presidents. Give me a break. That ended in 1999. Point being, if you do not control your parallel construction, you will have words defined for you and you will be spun in loops of no solutions. In closing, on this weekend of July 4th, the Day of the Slaves, learn how to syntax, because if you don't know how to communicate correct, the fiction will eat you up. You can learn more about this at lastflagstanding.com, and you can also get a claim of the life as a solution at fortheclaimofthelife.com. What the claim of the life does, it gives you a foundation to join the correct flag, which I have the Title IV copyrights to, stemming from a filing at the United Nations on 1999 for copyrights on the Title IV 1 to 1.9 dimension flag. The value in that is, as you go to ports and courts and banks, when you hoist the colors in the correct communication parsing syntax grammar, you now have the capacity to state a claim. If you don't have the correct flag, you don't have the capacity to state a claim in your world, nor do others have a chance to join it. The value of being able to state a claim and to control the definitions of the words that you are going to allow into your life gives you a tactical position to block and defend yourself from negativity and create a dynasty around you, to be a sovereign, to choose your own battles, to choose your own way that you see the facts to be positioned by the prepositional phrase. You preset the facts. Without presetting the facts, you create subjective interpretation, which is what we see on these words right here, such as when you take the hyphen out between domestic terrorist, it becomes an adjective pronoun. Now, domestic to me in this position can mean a cup, or it can mean a table, or a chair. It's only subjective interpretation. And terrorist in this position becomes a pronoun or a no fact, because the prefix pro to a word means no. So as you learn how to syntax and learn the order of operations of prefixes and suffixes, commanding your position with a fact in the now space will give you the necessary control to control your world. Without that, someone else is going to define it for you. Someone else is going to control the outcome of your life. I'm Russell-J. Gould, Postmaster-General, Commander-in-Chief, and now You're with the knowledge.